Welcome to Alpha Marketing, your go-to resource for unlocking the full potential of your small to medium-sized business. Hosted by Aaron Shishilla, CEO of Wolfpack Advising. Now, let's learn how to dominate your market.
Hello and welcome back to Marketing Alpha. My name is Aaron and today we're talking about why every small business needs a personal brand and what exactly that means. It may seem something like you don't really care about or like a topic that isn't that interesting, but let me tell you, this is one of the most important aspects to your small business if you're looking to grow and scale. And let me tell you why. So I'm not talking about a business brand, I'm talking about you, I'm talking about your face, your story. Because in 2025 and even beyond and even before, people didn't necessarily purchase from businesses. They don't love businesses. They love the people. They love the story. They love the relationship that they build, especially in the world of small business. So we're first going to define what a personal brand is, what that looks like, what happens when you don't have a personal brand, why it's so critical for you and your individual business, how to go about it, what it looks like in action, and then some easy ways to get started near the end. So let's first start defining what a personal brand really is. It's really the way the world and your prospects perceive you. It's your reputation, it's your story, and the way you show up publicly. Yeah, think of how you show up on social media because that's such a big part of our culture nowadays. In business, it's the human side behind the company, the why and the who, the reason people connect with you, and what they think about when they kind of think about your company. You know, you are that face of the company as being the owner. So some key examples to think of in the world of big business, you can think of Elon Musk and Tesla, especially right now in the current market with what's happened with Elon Musk. You know, he might have had a much different view or personal brand before, but then obviously he got involved in politics and then has completely changed how people look at his company. The same thing applies with Steve Jobs and Apple. People view Apple a lot because of Steve Jobs. Their personal brands made the companies magnetic because they understood the person and they could build a connection with that person, their story, and who they are. And people want to do the same thing with you. So for small businesses, it could be you just sharing behind the scenes content, your story, or even just showing up consistently online with some value. So let's talk about what happens when you don't have your own personal brand. If you don't build a personal brand, here's what happens. First, you're often invisible in a noisy market. You're simply just another business asking for more money, asking for whatever. You don't have the story, you don't have the trust, you don't have the personality like another competitor that might be showing their face consistently. You lose the trust factor that helps small businesses compete with bigger ones too. Because in the small business world, when you're kind of competing in a local market, the way that you can kind of outperform some of the bigger companies is you have that personal touch. You have the personality, you have the connection, you have the relationships. And the personal brand is what you use to leverage that in order to compete with the big business in your area if you do have that. Number 3 is you just become easily replaceable. It's just another service provider. It's just another product. There's really no choice into why they choose you over another company. Unless you're a big business, unless you are have what we call a blue ocean and like just a corner of the market that nobody else can go to anybody else, you're probably going to lose some business because of it. People ultimately end up doing business with people, and they build a connection that way. So now we kind of understand what a personal brand is, what happens when you don't have one. Let's talk about some critical standpoints for small business owners. And let me break down why it matters so much. The first thing is it absolutely accelerates trust. Your personal brand just fast tracks the trust factor. You don't need months of nurture emails if someone connects with you through a content post or some type of video or speaking events or a conference or a TikTok video or a social media post that you share your story. People can instantly connect with you on that. Just to go back a little bit and tell you about a story with my own personal social media is I can't tell you how many people come to me at conferences now and talk about how they follow me on social media, how they're part of my home inspector humor groups or the pest control humor group or whatever kind of group I have, or have like talked to me like they've known me for a while. And I absolutely love that because that's what the point is. I want to be able to connect with people even though I'm working from the comfort of my home. And you should want to do the same thing while you're building your business and in your office or out in the field or wherever you are. You need to be building connections with people and showcasing your brand and sharing your story online. And that's where that trust factor comes in. Part 2 of this is differentiation. There are a ton of agencies, contractors, consultants. There's a ton of businesses, but there's only one of you that makes you unique. Your experience, your tone, your values, that's your moat. No one can exactly copy that. And the same thing goes for me. Nobody can copy me. There could be tons of other agencies out there, which there absolutely are, dozens of agencies out there, but people come to me because they know that I've worked in small business. I understand small business so very well, especially local home service areas, and they trust that I'm going to help them achieve whatever goal they have. That's why people come to me, because they understand that story. And so for you, if you are a home inspector, pest control, whatever else, you need to be sharing that story with your customers and market that as your personal brand alongside your business on social media. That is how you establish the trust and the credibility in your local market. Number 3 is attracting the right people. Whether it's customers, partners, or even employees and team members, your personal brand acts like a magnet to attract those people. It brings in the right people and repels the wrong ones. So an example of this would be Elon Musk, right? If he is now this hardliner on politics, he's attracting the people that are right for him. It may not be right for everybody or whatever else, but that is just one extreme factor of this case, is he's attracting the quote unquote right people, whether it's right or wrong in your mind or whatever else. But what we want to do is, with your personality, is attract the right people to you. And there are going to be people that value the same things you are. And that's what we're talking about, is the values, the shared values. And it could be simple things like honesty, integrity, dedication, determination, hard work. All that stuff matters, right? But when you exhibit that in your content and in your social media, people relate to that. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about attracting the right people. The people that share the same core values and understand your story and have a little bit of empathy towards your story. The final piece about why it's so critical, and that kind of brings it all together, is content becomes easier. When you have a personal brand, creating content just kind of just flows. It becomes less forced. You don't have to worry about like what kind of information I need to give out. You kind of just talk about your beliefs, share your process, showcase real life wins and struggles, and talk about yourself. And everybody loves talking about yourself, so you kind of have no excuse why you can't do this. The only thing that I'm sure a lot of people get, especially in this like in today's day and age, is they don't want to be in video, or they have a hard time talking on video. And let me tell you, it just comes with practice. I wasn't that very good at it at the beginning, and I still am not that very good at it. I would say I still have a lot to learn, but it comes with practice. That content just becomes easier as you do it. And when you exhibit this personal brand, you're kind of just being yourself. And that's what we're looking for, is being yourself. All right, so let's talk about what it looks like in action. So here's some things that I've been doing that has been building mine, and how it's operated for myself is really, I just have a daily task on my ClickUp. ClickUp is what I use for our agency in order to do everything, essentially. But I have a daily task to do something for social media every day, whether it's a specific type of content, some type of engagement, whatever it is. That's all it takes. And I'm always on social media. It's actually on my home screen on my phone. And so I'm always scrolling, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I just hate LinkedIn. I can't stand LinkedIn. I don't know why. I can't get past it. It just seems like a huge fest of, hey, let's all just talk about why we're so cool. Where the authenticity, I think, is more of like the TikTok, the Instagram. Well, Instagram's not really that authentic, but the Facebook, those different social medias are the more authentic ones, in my personal belief, that I enjoy going on. So I have that daily task, and that daily task is a reminder for me to do my engagements, to do my post, or whatever else. And when I'm creating that content, I'm just being myself. So sometimes that content is structured and is planned and is part of like a content calendar that you would say. Sometimes I'm just like speaking from the heart, speaking of what comes up to mind that day, and sharing that. And honestly, a lot of times the stuff that isn't planned, that is just kind of really authentic, or what happens within that day, or I'm like, ooh, this would be so cool, that's the stuff that does the best. because more people can kind of connect with it, especially in these podcasts. When I am doing a conversation, you're having like a conversation, like you're in this room with me, it gets a lot more engagement, a lot more listening, I guess, rather than me just kind of talking and spewing a bunch of stuff, which I often quite do in these podcasts. But anyway, regardless, here's how I'm building mine. I have that task. I'm doing some engagement, adding some people as friends. I am doing my posts, and my primary targets for social media are going to be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I am on Twitter a little bit, but that's really just because I like the news, especially in digital marketing world. Everybody's on Twitter, but not so much for other businesses. It's usually like tech savvy people, I think, that are on Twitter right now. Regardless, after that, I talk about wins, but also I talk about things that I'm learning or struggling with, because people want the real stuff, not necessarily the perfect stuff. The perfect stuff and showcasing like a vacation or a huge achievement, those are important. Absolutely. Those get a ton of engagement. Absolutely. But you don't want to fall into the trap of consistently showing that kind of brand, because that's not you. That's not being authentic, and that's not being a personal brand. You need to show the dailies, the ups and downs, who you are as a person. So honestly, it might feel weird at first, and you might think like, why would anyone care? But the truth is, people absolutely do care. They want something real. They want a real connection on social media. Honestly, it may feel like just stupid views or like meaningless or just another like or whatever else, but people truly care. And I see this shift entirely in our sales pipeline. I get messages daily now of people talking about the struggles that they might be going through from a marketing standpoint. And it's an opportunity for me to kind of do like a little video with them. I send a video message because it makes it a lot easier, so I can give them a ton of information, because I don't have opportunities to schedule calls with everybody. But I do a video message, reply back to them, and I just talk about like, hey, what I would probably do in their particular situation, and then go from there. But it's entirely changed the amount of eyes and people listening and people reaching out and trusting who Wolfpack is and who I am as a person and how I'm looking to help. And the same thing goes for your own brand, is you want to be able to showcase that and share that and connect with your target audience. A lot of people that listen to me are home service companies. And so what I would really recommend you do if you're looking to grow is look at your social media and think, who are your friends? Are there people, homeowners, like in your local market? Or a lot of people as they connect with other people in their industry, which is great. It's still important, but make sure we're spending our time with our target audience rather than, hanging out with our industry, which I mean is completely important. And I think there's value in that, especially in like things like coaching and getting involved in coaching. But I would definitely try to spend a lot more time in your local market with your homeowners, with your referral networks, all of that, rather than spending 100% of your time in the industry world. All right, so here's 3 easy ways to essentially start with this, and we'll kind of wrap it up with a bow for this podcast. It'll be nice and short. But you don't need a ton of followers to kind of get started. You just need to pick one particular platform, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, if you're into that. I'm not. Facebook, or even TikTok. Just pick one and show up consistently. Optimize the profile. Make it look like you. Make it look cool. Whatever you think that is. Play with the settings. Add your bio. Do a new profile picture. All that stuff. Look at somebody, whether it's a competitor or another person you look up to, look at their profile and really think about, what does it look like when they're showing their brand? If you haven't heard of somebody called Alex Hermosi, you can check him out. He's a really good person to follow on social media for business owners. Look at his social media. That's a really clear, perfect example of what you could be doing with your personal brand and how it connects over to your business. I think he does such a fantastic job. But anyway, stalk on social media like crazy and use that for inspiration for your profile. And then show up consistently. Just set a daily task, whether it's a reminder on your phone, on your to-do list, a calendar event, something. You need to identify what that habit change is in order to accomplish it, where you're going to like and comment on your friends' posts and interact with them. You're going to engage with new people. So friend request new people, for example, on Facebook. That might be adding new friends that are in your local market. If I'm a pest control company, it might be, people that would be in my referral network, such as real estate agents or other homeowners that are friends of friends, for example. And then I just want you to post something and tell your story, be authentic. The cool thing about social media is when you start posting and you're really bad at it, nobody's going to watch it. So you essentially can post and be really bad and cringy and nobody was going to see it. And then when you're really good and it's really awesome and personal and connection, everybody's going to see it. And that's what's so cool about social media. Unless it's something really embarrassing. Don't post anything really embarrassing, because then that would actually probably get shared quite a bit. So just don't do that. Avoid that. But tell your story. Post once a week about why you started, what you believe, or what you're learning, and just kind of talk from the heart what's going on for that day. And then use video. I know people hate video, but I'm telling you, it builds connection faster. You don't need high production, just authenticity. Record a short, why I do what I do in video and pin it on your profile or something like that. I'm always filming on my phone. That's all you need. You could use their little in-app editors. You don't need anything crazy. You don't spend a ton of money. I've gotten in a really bad habit of spending money before I actually commit to something. So make sure you actually commit. You do it before you go to spend money on whatever it is, like a fancy editor or something. All right. Final takeaways. Your personal brand ultimately here is not optional. All right. It's your competitive advantage. It's what is going to make your company succeed and grow and scale continuously. So if there's anything you take away from today, let it be that. Start small. Your business can ride on trends, but your face, story, and voice will never go out of style. Start small, stay consistent, be real, authentic on social media, because when your personal brand leads, everything else just becomes easier. Sales, hiring, content, partnerships, everything. I'm telling you, it's just a whole lot easier because people could see that on social media and connect with you. Anyway, thanks for listening to Marketing Alpha. If you found this episode lit a fire for you, let me know. Drop a comment, whatever it is. Send me a message. Follow me on social media. Send me a message there. Peace out. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Alpha Marketing. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other business owners and marketers. Your support enables us to continue bringing you actionable advice and the tools you need to thrive. Join us next time for more insights with Aaron Shishilla, and keep striving to be the alpha in your market.